The following program does not necessarily represent the views and opinions of Reality Radio 101, its advertisers and sponsors, or its listening audience. Listener discretion is advised. Good afternoon and welcome to the Liquid Green Health Show with your hosts, Fred and Janet Cox, right here on Reality Radio 101. To get on board right now, send us an email. Our email address is liquidgreenhealthshow@gmail.com. And now, ladies and gentlemen, right to your hosts of the Liquid Green Health Show, Fred and Janet Cox.
And good afternoon to all of our listeners and viewers across Canada, the United States, and around the world. We are the Coxes, and thank you for allowing us into your private space once again. Welcome to the Liquid Green Health Show. Every Sunday, we have fun, lots of fun, because we offer tips in an edutainment format designed to stimulate the mind and help bring us one step closer to living a healthier lifestyle. Each broadcast, like today, it can be found on Spotify or on YouTube. All you have to do is to type in Liquid Green Health Show. And once you do that, please like, share, comment, subscribe, click on all the buttons. That's going to give us a boost, much needed boost, right? You can also send us your emails to liquidgreenhealthshow@gmail.com. That is liquidgreenhealthshow@gmail.com. Please let us know where you are listening from. We love your questions. We love your suggestions. We love your comments. Keep them coming. And once again, welcome to the Liquid Green Health Show. We have a wonderful topic for you today.
Controversial nonetheless.
Yeah.
I know it's going to be controversial.
Can be controversial. Even the heading, we made a mistake and put on send out the wrong heading in the email.
I don't think anything is a mistake. It
was intended to be?
Well, if it happened, then it was intended.
It was intended.
That's how the universe
That's
works.
how the universe works. Yep.
If it wasn't supposed to be there, it wouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
So this week we have
it's Easter
weekend.
Yeah, it's an Easter weekend, and
we want to
depending on where you are, folks, regardless of your religious affiliation, we want to say Happy Easter right across the board to every single one of you
who
celebrates this
Christian
season
holiday, right?
Right. So
Christian holiday.
Happy
And
Christmas. Not saying Happy Christmas.
Well, it
Easter.
seems like Christmas, like not everybody, even the Orthodox.
Yeah.
Some of the Orthodox churches, I know the Greek Orthodox, I don't believe they celebrate right now. That will come later.
Yeah.
Right? But most of the Christian religions do have this. And the ones who don't, they just have a nice
enjoy
holiday,
the festivities, man.
right?
Enjoy it. Eat a lot of food. Right?
Like we did at Kira's.
Oh
the
my
Mords.
gosh.
Oh my goodness. It
So much
was
food,
a family get together for Easter. Love always to see the grandkids. Give them a shout out. Hi Nova, hi Maxwell. And hi, our darling little
Maya.
Right.
My princess. My little princess.
Your buttercup.
Yeah, my buttercup.
And then she says, no, I'm not your buttercup. But anyway, Easter, today's topic is going to be, as I said, controversial. Because we did say prayer.
Well, I hope not. Yeah, we said prayer
and
meditation.
Yeah,
but that's
what's your topic? Go ahead.
That wasn't the intent. The real topic, folks, is meditating for mental and physical health. That's what we're going to be talking about today.
I really, as I said, we folks, we go through this all the time. Frederick and I agree almost 2% on the same thing. Most of the other times we don't agree on the same. But you know what? It keeps the relationship interesting because we're never bored. And I think the difference between prayer, meditation, and heck, I
Yeah,
used to
yeah.
do Buddhist chanting, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo.
Yeah.
I did that for years.
Yeah.
I think
And you don't think there's a difference?
not much.
There's a huge difference.
Not much. I
Big
believe
difference.
what I believe is that the intent and
Yeah.
the results are the same. The intent is to go beyond yourself. The intent is to go into that deeper source, that energy, the force, the God force.
Yeah.
And so whether you're in the church and you pray,
But praying doesn't
you
do that.
still get the same
No.
results.
Praying.
You cannot say to a Christian
No, no, no.
that if you pray, you're not going to get the results that somebody who goes
Okay.
into meditation does.
Okay.
And that's
Praying the way we were taught
Mhm.
does not do that. I can say
Okay.
that categorically.
All
It
right.
doesn't do that.
That's
Because
what you believe.
when you pray the way we were taught, basically it's like going to a party and trying to speak to someone. You're in a noise box,
Okay.
right? You're in a box of noise. You're not isolating yourself, right? So if you do get results, it's purely by accident.
I totally disagree.
No.
I totally disagree.
Whereas with meditation, it's a totally different concept.
But Frederick,
And we're going to explain it here today.
Explain, yes.
We're going to explain it
We're
today.
going to listen to what the experts have said. But
Praying the way we were taught is like you're in a noise box, in a box.
You just said that.
Yes.
Praying, like meditation, can be done in the isolation of your own private quarters. It can be done in a very big, quiet Catholic church,
Okay.
or it can be done in a big, noisy, Afro-American
But
Black
the Bible,
church
the
with its
Bible
music
says,
and
the
everything.
Bible says, and it's in the Bible, the
Mhm.
Bible says, when you're going to pray, go lock yourself, and I'm paraphrasing, lock yourself in a quiet place and do your prayer.
Be
It doesn't,
still
right.
and
It
know
doesn't say
that
stand in a crowd and shout and bring down all these deities.
But
If that was the case, everyone who is in hospital today that is suffering with pain and crying out would have had benefits.
But guess what? It's the
It
same with
doesn't-
meditation. Not everybody who meditates.
It all depends on the intent.
You could be on a crowded bus and stand there with your eyes open.
That's a form of meditation. That's a form of meditation. That is a
You
form.
could also be saying a quiet prayer. But anyway, let's go into the topic. Let's go into what we have prescribed.
Yeah, I think we should have a whole topic on this, right? Although meditation have been practiced in ancient African and Eastern cultures for centuries,
Mhm.
it has been frowned upon in the West. However, in recent times, meditation has gained immense popularity as more and more people discover its many health benefits. But there is still a controversy, as we just
Mhm.
tried to discuss here. There's still a controversy surrounding this ancient spiritual modality and its effectiveness.
So, Mr. Cox, what in your opinion then, or what through your research, because we always take the time
Yeah.
to look at not just listen to our voices, we take the time to listen to the experts. You know, there are people out there that we, you know, when we do the research, we report back. This is basically what this is, right? So what have you found out? What is meditation?
Well, we've started off the show with a bang, and I think
Mhm.
I would like to continue in that
Yeah.
frame, right? Okay, now, first of all, there are several types of meditative practices. And although there isn't a right or wrong way to do any one of these practices, it's very important to find a practice that meets your needs and that is right for you, because each practice requires a skill to get the right results, right?
Okay.
And I'm going to give you, before I get into answer the question, as I said, there's several types of meditations, right? You have mindfulness meditation, you got spiritual, you have movement meditation, like, you know, you're walking and you could do your
Yes.
meditation there. You have mantra, that's the one where you use the chanting and stuff.
Yeah.
Transcendental, that's a little deeper.
Yeah.
You have, and I like that. You have progressive relaxation. You have loving kindness meditation. You have visual meditation, right? Those are just some of the choices that you have out there. But
You know what?
meditation is to answer your question,
Yeah.
it is a direct experience of your mind, of your own mind. It is the habitual process of training your conscious mind to focus and redirect your thoughts to maintain mindfulness.
Okay, so before you go on,
Mhm.
in a very simple way then,
Mhm.
I would like to, everything you just said, if I could encapsulate that in one sentence,
Mhm.
I would say basically then medication.
Not medication here, folks.
Actually, it supplants medication,
Yes, it
and it
does.
will have the same effect as some of those hypertensive medications that they offer for stress and anxiety,
Yeah.
which are some of the things we're going to talk about later. But meditation to me is basically giving your mind control over, and I know you're going to have arguments with this, we have a very complex brain,
Yes.
right? And there are certain things within our body that will help us to meditate. We're going to talk about breath and why
Yes.
that's important, right? But this amazing brain that we have, that we succumb to, like the mind then, right?
Yeah.
That we succumb to, we have to gain control over it. And to me, that is why we meditate.
And that is why prayer doesn't do that, because prayer does not take control of the mind.
Okay.
Right?
Mhm.
That's the big difference. Okay. So you just answered your own question.
For example, Mr. Cox, we see things like road rage, right?
Yes. Yeah.
This is, we see people in isolation.
Yes.
We have, look at in the States, oh my God, the mass shootings,
Mhm.
the homicide, the divorce rate is up, like all of these things,
Yes.
right? If people were to meditate more,
Mhm.
do you think that there would be a better world?
Definitely.
Because
Yes.
basically, if it's to bring inner peace,
And
and then you're sharing that in the world, then we should have a better world.
yes.
Okay,
And again, I'm certain that
Mhm.
if not all, most of those individuals were brought up in a prayer format.
Or lack of prayer. Let's not keep the debate between prayer and meditation. Let's make it, we'll have, the jury is out.
Yeah.
So we'll have our listeners decide. All
Okay.
right, we'll have our listeners decide. But I know we're gonna focus mostly on meditation.
Yeah.
But in my mind, if you don't meditate, you really should get into it. But if
You
you
should.
pray,
Yes. Yes, you should.
then you're not doing anything wrong. That's okay too.
You may not be doing anything wrong, but you're not doing anything effective.
Absolutely wrong.
Effective.
For the millions
Effective.
of people who are listening to us on Reality Radio 101. Yes, Gary, millions.
Let me give you an example. You remember the last Gulf War?
Yes.
Prior to that war starting,
Mhm.
millions of people were praying. Millions.
Everybody
And guess
prays
what?
at the Super Bowl.
But
yeah.
guess what?
Mhm.
The bombs still fell.
But
And some of the people that the bombs were falling on, they prayed too.
it's the same with meditation. Not because you meditate, that means your prayer or your visualization or
All I'm
whatever.
saying, in my personal experience,
Let's move
my belief, one is more effective than the
Than the
other.
other.
That's all I'm saying. Right?
You-
Okay.
No, that's not what you were saying. What you were saying is not that one is more effective. You're saying one is useless.
Well,
So
maybe that was a
and
harsh
that's-
term. Maybe
that's
it was a harsh term.
So one may
but
be
I-
more effective depending on who you are, your situation, your
Yeah,
goals, etc.
I think you
Let's
get
move
more
on.
results. Okay, so let me just finish about meditation. What
Yes,
meditation can do here?
Mhm.
Meditation can be used for self-reflection, and it
Mhm.
can increase your awareness, the awareness of ourselves, right,
Mhm.
and our surroundings. Because again, this is my thinking.
Okay.
How others view you is exactly how you think of yourself, right? And if you're doing proper meditative exercises, it will enable you to have a better view of who you are. The Egyptians they coined a saying, man, know thyself.
Correct.
That is an Egyptian saying, man, know thyself. And that is what it is meant. In order to know yourself, you must go inside, right? And tap into that power
Mhm.
in order
Correct.
to reveal who you really are. Okay.
So when do we use meditation?
You can use it anytime. It all depends on your need and what time you have. Any time of the day, anywhere, but there are specific times of the day, the month, the year, that certain types of meditations can be used, and it's more effective, right? So, and I mean, we're not going to get into that today, but
Or I think I asked the wrong person. I should have probably said why. Why do we meditate? Why? When do we?
We meditate to put ourselves in a position of mindfulness, where you separate yourself from, I like to say, the noise. Separate yourself from the noise, and you try to control that crazy aspect of the mind. I view the mind as having two compartments, right? You have the conscious and the subconscious mind.
Of course.
And so you want to be able to control that the conscious mind, because in my opinion, it's like a wild horse or a wild monkey. You want to control it, right? So at any time that you have the time.
And that's what happens actually when you actually sit down quietly to meditate. A lot of people believe they're failures because they can't do it effectively,
Right.
because it's so difficult to control the mind.
Yes.
And I believe from what I have read is that you don't really need to absolutely have stillness or quiet, because it's so impossible. But as long as you get the thoughts and you don't harbor on those thoughts, the thoughts can come and it's within your power, release. So the thought will come, then you release it. Then another thought comes and you release it.
Yeah, but you're doing, the reason you're doing that is to get into that stillness mode, where you it's like you're emptying the vessel so that you can refill it with good, whatever you're filling it with. And in order to refill it, you have to be able to tap in to the subconscious part of it, which is the silence. That is the part that has all the information that you need to know.
I listen, what you're saying is true, but I listened to somebody earlier during the week, and they were giving an example of a polar bear. And what he said to his audience, he said, close your eyes and think of, imagine, visualize a white polar bear.
Wow. Okay.
And then he did that for about a minute. Then he asked, how many people were able to see this white polar bear? All hands went up clearly, no problem. Then he says, I want you to close your eyes again, go back into that meditative mode, go back into the stillness, into the silence, and think of anything else, but don't think of the white polar bear. What do you think they thought of?
The white polar bear.
Almost as an obsession.
Yeah.
You can't get it out of your mind. And that's why with meditation, you cannot basically, the things you want to lose and not think about are the things that will come up during meditation.
But the reason they were not able to get it out of their mind, they didn't have enough time to stay in that.
No, but he just did that in a mass group.
Yeah.
But the scientists, that was an actual experiment that they did for a long time. I think more than 5 minutes. To try and get that out of your mind. Yeah, so the thing is, when the polar bear comes up, you have to say, okay, the polar bear is here, get rid of it.
But it's easier said than done.
That's
easier said than done, right? Because that is a practice. That's something that could take months. It could take a year.
Meditation, the practice of meditation.
Yeah, it could take a while before you can get into that peaceful thing. So now let's talk about breath, right? The importance of breath and meditation.
Critical.
Very, very critical, right? It is said that it can be an effective complementary treatment to several conditions, right? That's meditation, effective complementary treatment, because the breath, remember, that's again, I don't know much, I don't read the Bible a lot, but there's some things that I know.
Anymore, we used to.
So I still have memory. In the Bible, it says, when God created man, he breathed breath into his nostrils. Not blood, not manna, breath.
Well, yes.
So that shows the importance of breath. That is why when you're going to meditate, there's certain practices that you should try to master.
It's all
breathing,
about the breath.
Right, breathing.
That's intake of oxygen. We need good lungs.
It's a detoxifier.
Yes.
Right? So you need to learn how to breathe properly.
As a matter of fact, it's breathing is the most important thing that we do.
Very important. We do it nonchalantly.
Right?
We take it for granted.
Have to practice it.
No.
But during meditation, you practice breathing.
Yes, you practice and you do it from your diaphragm, right? The diaphragmatic type of breathing. The lungs plays a very important role because The lungs is a crucial organ in the body.
Mhm.
It facilitates a lot of exchange of a lot of gases in the body and the environment.
Mhm.
So the importance cannot be overstated,
Yeah.
right? Now, in his book, John Kabat-Zinn, in his book, Wherever You Go, There You Are, he writes about breathing. And he
Okay.
says, breath is the current of life, connecting body and mind. It helps to have a focus for your attention,
Okay.
right? So
Mhm.
when the breathing meditation that focuses on the breath coming from the nostrils, and you can feel it going over your lips, your upper lip, you are focusing on a life-saving energy that is exiting the body,
Of course.
and you get into the rhythm of
Right.
that breathing.
As a matter of fact,
Mhm.
it's I think the statistics, the research is 15 to 25 times per minute that we inhale
yeah,
and exhale.
right.
And that's like 10,000 liters of air
Wow.
every day.
Wow.
That's how important it is.
Wow.
And of course, we have the people who suffer with the lung diseases,
Mhm.
right? The disease where you can't breathe properly, the emphysema,
Yeah.
the what you call it, the
Asthma.
asthma,
Mhm.
those ones, right? That it's, I wonder, do those people who have those conditions, can they meditate well?
They could if they're taught how to do it.
Mhm.
They could.
Pneumonia,
Yeah,
TB,
taking
those ones.
learn to
Right.
take deep breaths is very, very important.
It's healing, right?
Meditation can also help to control substance abuse, including things like opioid use,
Mhm.
methamphetamine, and other stimulants, right?
Right.
If you learn to meditate properly, you can overcome,
Okay.
the control of those.
Other things like it reduces blood pressure,
Yes,
right? It makes you sleep better.
yes, it
It
does.
helps you to make better decisions,
Mhm.
right? All of those things because
Clarity of the
meditation.
mind, excuse me, is what it does.
Okay.
Now, when we look at things like depression, right, that here's another area that meditative practices can
PTSD.
help,
Mhm.
because this is a very common mental health condition, depression. You hear about it. You see people who are suffering with these conditions. You see the reaction, and the havoc that they can cause in many cases, right? Some people lose their lives. Some people take other people's lives, that are suffering on this condition. So
meditation, you know what you're saying, all of this, and as you talk, I'm thinking, the society really needs to focus more on this
I think,
simple but so effective.
yes, very, very effective. Again, this is my thinking. In every school system,
Mhm.
they should have meditative classes.
Yes.
Every single school system right across the world should have meditative classes, because when this practice is taught to young children,
Mhm.
I can guarantee you, kids would become better adolescents, better adults, and the world would be a much better place.
Well,
if
with
people
you
did.
saying that, meditation should be compulsory before any political meeting with its G7 and the G8, before any war is declared, those leaders should be, it should be mandatory
Yep,
to go into 2-3 day meditations.
yep,
Can you imagine the impact on the world
Yep.
if more of our leaders, if
Yeah.
Putin and
and,
what's his name in Ukraine were meditating if World War, anyway, that's another topic. It's idealistic. Ain't gonna happen, right?
Yep.
But it also reduces the cortisol levels.
Yes.
That's the main thing, right? That is what physically then that
Mhm.
meditation does. It reduces the cortisol level in our bodies. And cortisol, of course, is a stress hormone.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And you mentioned something just now, and it's absolutely true that when you meditate, it actually is better. You get more benefit from meditation well taught. Like a really fantastic session of deep meditation is more beneficial than a good night's sleep. Can you
Yes.
believe it?
Yeah,
And that
because
is scientific.
it really puts you in a state of peacefulness. The entire body it tends to slow down.
Mhm.
Everything just slows down, and you feel relaxed, you feel comfortable, you feel like you're in a state of bliss when you do meditation properly.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it takes you into a different realm, and you feel like you are out of this world.
So tell us about the cortisol and how that works.
Now, the cortisol, it's a stress hormone.
Yeah.
And this produces many of the harmful effects of stress, such as the release of inflammation or inflammatory chemicals like cytokines,
Okay.
right? And these effects can disrupt your sleep pattern. They can promote depression and anxiety. It can increase blood levels, blood pressure.
Mhm.
It can contribute to fatigue. And, there's a new thing that's called cloudy thinking now.
Okay.
Right, it can
Okay.
contribute to that. So there's a whole host of things that it can, the mental area it can affect.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Actually, they said the decrease of cortisol is 30 to 40%. The level, when it's decreased, it reduces, like stress reduces cortisol. All those things you just mentioned.
Yeah.
It reduces the level of cortisol by about 30 to 40%.
Wow.
Whereas in a good night's sleep, it's only reduced by about 10 to 12%. So that's why they say if you really meditate well, you'll get
You get
as
the
much
benefits
benefit, if not more, than
sleep.
having a good night's sleep. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So
the anxiety.
no, you were okay, go ahead.
Right. It helps with controlling anxiety, or better yet, reducing anxiety.
Yes.
But there's a type of meditation that's called mindfulness meditation, right? And mindfulness meditation can reduce the inflammation response that is caused by stress, right? And meditation, it says this is where meditation lives up to its stress reduction reputation.
Right, because you have things like irritable bowel syndrome, and you're wondering, that's your gut.
Yeah.
What does that have to do with meditation? Right.
Well, anxiety causes these things, the digestive system to go haywire, right? Exactly. It can cause things like fibromyalgia.
Right? Actually, when you get nervous and stressed, where do you feel
a lot of people hold their tummy?
Yes,
they hold it. Yeah. No, tummy.
Okay. Okay.
And so post-traumatic stress disorder and things like fibromyalgia, and as we mentioned, irritable bowel syndrome, all these are stress-related conditions, right? That can come from anxiety, right? Which is another situation that good proper meditation can alleviate these conditions. And I'm going to talk about mindfulness a little later as we go on. You want to take a break and take a look at some email?
And you'll tell us how people.
Yeah, I'll come. Yeah, just while we're looking for the email, folks. You're listening to the Coxes. Today, this is Easter Sunday, and we have chosen the topic of meditation and how effective it can be. How effective it can be in terms of healing the body. And that's our conversation. If you joined us late or you're joining us for the very first time, this is Liquid Green Health Show on Reality Radio 101.
Right. So our first email came in a day ago. Actually.
Yeah, we got some a few days ago.
Yeah, and the first one was from Donna, and she said, Coxes, if you believe, always pray. God is never the problem. He's only the solution. So that is from definitely
and that's a whole different conversation, right? But that's a very nice email, and I can understand it. Let's move on to
Monique.
Yeah.
Monique says prayer, same thing, is amazing to use all the time. Happy Easter. I wonder if the folks that talk about prayer, I would love to know if they also meditate, because it's not a practice that's actually taught in the churches, right? Church, you're taught to pray, and hardly any
churches for years have always put a negative spin on meditation. I think now some of the pastors are coming around. They understand that it has, a lot of benefits. And so they're talking more and more about it. And also we're going into a highly spiritual age. People are shifting away from the old teaching, and they're looking at ways in which they can comfort themselves. And meditation is one of them. Here's one from Nancy. Nancy says, we love the Coxes. Happy Easter. Meditation rocks. Yeah.
A1.
It's A1. She says, I do it 3 times a day. Well, thank you. Thank you for that.
Well, that's another thing.
Yeah.
Is there any
special time or the amount of time?
Or amount of time?
Whatever suits you, whatever time you have, the more you're into it, the better the results. So.
But I know some people prefer the early mornings. I remember we used to get up at 3 o'clock in the mornings.
For me, certain times, if I'm doing a specific type of meditation, I like to do it between 1 and 3 in the morning. Place is quiet, the universe is quieter, right? That's a good time. Then again, there's sometimes when, again, it depends on what you're doing, what's your purpose, right? Early in the morning, late at night, 9 o'clock at night, it all depends.
Or whenever you're feeling stressed. You could be in the middle of a day, you could be going into before a job interview. You could be going in to take a vaccine. You could be doing anything.
You could be walking, driving your car, whatever. Just you need to settle your mind, right? And that's what it is. Here's one from Amy. And Amy says, hi to Fred and Janet. Most health professionals always recommend meditation to relax and get your mind at ease. Prayer and meditation are not the same thing. And I just love you, Amy. I love you. I love you. I love you. She put not in big capital letters. Prayer is talking to a supreme being, and meditation to block the mind and not think of anything to clear the mind.
Say that again. Prayer is talking to a supreme being. Yeah, talking to God, right? And meditation is
to block the mind and not think of anything to clear the mind.
Okay.
Again,
I think it's impossible to block the mind.
I also think that
we're doing things to try to clear the mind.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about, right?
Yeah. Okay. And I mean, talking to supreme being,
I think, if you were to ask 10 people, it depends on what they do, because here's an email from Monique, and Monique says prayer is amazing to use all the time. So it just depends.
I think we should have a show on this. Yeah, but
if you want to talk to some of the Buddhists, they're not going to talk prayer. They're going to talk meditation, but it's going to come from the chanting perspective. I remember spending 5 hours with the Buddhists, and we just chanted for 5 hours, taking short breaks and coming back to it.
Yeah, but chanting
to get the same.
Chanting is a mode of preparing the mind to settle itself. Okay. Right? That's what chant. So it's like knocking on the door. You're knocking on the door until the door is open. So that's what the chanting does, right? You're preparing the crazy mind to settle itself and then after that, you put it aside, right?
Okay, and Francis says, go ahead.
Francis says, happy Easter to Fred and Janet Cox. Prayers and meditation are essential for good health, physically, physically, and spiritually.
I agree.
I
mean, we really personally, let me speak for myself. We don't pray. I don't pray. I don't go into my chambers and pray. I will go in and we'll spend the time in meditation. Right? So I don't know if it's just a juxtaposition of the words. Is it semantics? I don't know.
All I'm going to say is this. I'm going to say it again. I do not pray the way I was taught to. Right? Because for me, that is useless. The way I was taught to pray and to honor certain deities, I don't do that because it is useless. That's my thinking.
Okay.
Others may find it differently, but that's me. And in terms of healing and stuff like that, there's certain things that I would apply meditation to that I know will heal. Right? I know that.
And Carl says, hey, Cox says, happy Easter to you and to you, everybody out there.
Everybody.
Relax and meditate. It is good for the soul. It is good for the mind.
It
Yes.
is good.
Okay, let's get back
Yes.
to, I know you have a lot.
Yeah, we're
prepared
going to come
to
back
talk
to the
about
rest of the email.
meditation.
Yeah. Let me get back to what we were talking about.
Mhm.
And did we touch on anxiety?
Yes, we did.
Okay, we touched on that. Pain management. What about pain management?
Okay.
Right? Meditation can be used for that. There was a study, 2 studies done, one in 2018, one in
Yeah, the one
2019.
in 2018, I think. is
Right. The one in
important.
2018 is a little more, you know,
Correct.
yeah. It says it showed that meditation can cause a change in the cortical thickness in some brain areas, and it makes you less pain sensitive. They're talking about pain and meditation being applied to ease the pain, right? And then it goes on to say the neural mechanisms meditation uses to modify pain are different from those used by other techniques. Several studies have determined that meditation promoted cognitive disengagement and an increased sensory processing of the actual pain by inducing the body's own opioid system. A very small randomized double-blind study that went all the way back to 2016 used the opioid blocker naloxone or a placebo and studied pain reduction with medication, right? And then it says that the group with the placebo experienced significantly less pain than the group that had the opioid blocker. So that shows the power and effectiveness of meditation, right? And that's when meditation is used as pain management.
Okay.
Right?
And for spiritual reasons.
Now we get to excuse me. We get to the spiritual part of it, right? Meditation for spiritual reasons is used all over the world.
Yes.
All over the world in various forms. Just about every culture they do it, and it's used for stress relaxation. Others use it to clear the mind, and some use it to awaken and deepen their connection to something that is greater than themselves.
Yes.
Because we all feel that there is something greater than ourselves, right? And we try to tap into it. Some people use drugs, as you know, to
Yes,
tap
that's right.
tap into
Same
it.
effect.
You know, they get a similar effect as when you are in deep meditation. It's similar,
Where
but
you
it's
can hear the voices.
but
you
it's
can
an
see
induced
visions.
effect. It's an
Yes.
induced effect. I mean, in meditation, you can see vision. You
Yeah.
can get visions too,
Exactly.
right? But what kind you would get might be totally different than when it's an induced form of
Transcendental meditation.
Yeah.
Remember all the movies to do with
right.
that, right?
And
So-
transcendental meditation is very powerful, very, very good, right? Spiritual meditation is an exhaustive individual experience that can, you know, feel vastly different for every person. It's a different experience.
So the reason we do it, the reason we practice meditation, I think when people go into meditation, they're really looking for more.
They're looking for relief.
Yeah.
Relief and connection.
Yes, you want a sense of being. You
Mhm.
want a certain inner stillness. You're looking
Yes.
for peace,
Yes.
right?
You want to get away
But-
from the noise.
I know, like, take a couple, for example. They have an argument. They're accused of something sinister. Are you seeing someone else? Why did you go into the bank and take money that was supposed to be used for something else? There's another family I know. One couple took money off the house
Yeah.
without
Without
the
the other-
wife did, without the husband knowing, and gave a chunk of their money to the church. And then they
For
ended up
divorce. Yeah.
parting ways. In cases like that, do you just go into meditation and your problems are solved? What else comes after meditation? That is my problem.
Well,
Because if I have a problem, I'm going to meditate about it, and hopefully the problem should go away.
no.
But
When you
or is
No.
it just to give you the strength, the strategies
If
to
it's
cope
done-
with fixing it?
if it's done properly, you will get an answer. You may think you don't get an answer, but every time you touch the source, you get a response. If you're not in tune, or if you're not on the same compatible energy field, you will not recognize that response.
And sometimes people recognize it in you more than you even recognize it in
Yes,
yourself.
yeah,
right?
and that person have the intuition to recognize, hey, this is what you need to do. You need to, make a change. But again, if you are not receptible to those, if you're not, receptive, if you're not receptive to those ideas, things are going to go haywire. So you have, it's a cause and effect, and is asking and allowing. When you ask, you must allow,
Right.
allow time and space. And so this is what, excuse me, this is what meditation can do.
So
when you get into
for example, you and I,
Mhm.
let's get personal now.
Mhm.
You and I, we have an
Mhm.
argument.
We never argue.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Don't tell the public we argue.
We have an argument. And I think it depends. I think that's why we've been able to be married for the length, the longevity,
Mhm.
is because we have learned that your reactions to certain things, the reactivity.
And it took a lot of learning, folks.
Yeah,
Took a lot of learning.
Way.
No.
It hasn't, I don't know, like, how long does it take before you become into
As
bliss?
long
Like
as
the
you
Buddhists,
no.
they go to find enlightenment. How long will that take? It's lifetimes.
But remember, they don't have a partner. They're not living with anybody. So it's easier.
Then, right?
No, it's easier if you're not living with someone to get into that state and maintain it for a very long period of time. The minute you have someone else in your life, you're gonna have problems, challenges.
But guess what? I'm gonna turn that around. Take the Catholic priests.
Yeah.
Who do they have? They don't have partners. They don't have spouses, but they need something. Who do they go after? We're not going to get into that, but we know all the charges that have been brought to them.
Yeah, but not all of them.
Not all of them. I'm not saying.
But the ones that have done it.
So it's not just the partner. It's how you learn to live.
But they should not have been priests. They should not have been in that position. Period.
If they were meditating and it was working for them, they would have been able to.
Even if they were meditating, they would have had the same problem.
The need for that physical, sexual thing that they go through and mess up little boys.
But first they have to cleanse themselves. It's a dirty vessel operating in a clean, world. And that dirty vessel has not been cleaned. So unless they clean that, clean the slate. So spiritual meditation, as I said, is an exhaustive individual experience. It gives you a sense of separateness.
Yes.
It separates you from your ego. It separates you from your ego and from worldly things, right? Okay. It gives, excuse me, you can hear voices when you're doing a spiritual meditation. Yeah, we just see visions and stuff, right? You got a feeling that there is a presence there where you're sitting. Something you get goosebumps.
Yes,
right?
You feel that.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And you get a sense of transcendence. Feel like you're beyond your physical self, right? And there's a sense of awe as well.
But for most people who spend a few hours or even minutes daily, they're really going to get a renewed sense of self-trust and self-acceptance.
Not everybody, and that's what I'm trying to say to you. Not everybody.
But that's the hope. That's the desire.
Yeah, but it's very difficult, Janet. Like, it's easier said than easier said than done. It is supposed to happen, but sometimes it takes a very long time.
That's why
to get to that state.
It's the practice of meditation. It's not going to happen and then you get rid of all your unhealthy stress in 5 seconds. No, it's a lifetime.
Yeah, and it gives a more balanced sense of being. Okay. Like you said, you get an inner stillness and you get a peace. You get. Do
you think you have that?
I could. I don't always have it. I don't always maintain it. I'm living with somebody, so I don't.
I know I don't have it.
I don't always have it.
I'm still working on it. I'm still working on it. And I think if so many people are honest, there
are times when I do, if I practice it.
if you were just to meditate and all your problems go away, then
no, that's a fallacy.
exactly.
Not because you're meditating, it means you won't have problems. We live in a world that is full of problems. You're not here alone.
Precisely.
You're not here alone. So look, we are part of nature. We are part of nature. And as long as you're part of nature, you're going to have bumps and you're going to have pitfalls.
I am agreeing
because
with you. 100%.
Nature you don't get sunshine
it's
every
a
single
river.
day.
You're going to have meanderings, you're going to have things falling in, you're going to have
The land is inundating. Yeah.
Yes, all of those things. So yeah, I agree with that. Right. But it is designed to bring a sense of clarity.
It is supposed to
your existence.
Yes. And once you do that, you can literally heal yourself. Once you've reached that state of mindfulness, pure mindfulness, you can heal certain conditions that you have through that type of meditation.
Great.
Right.
Okay.
Now, I wanted to talk about mindfulness.
In more detail.
Yeah.
Yes,
I have touched on it,
Mhm.
and I keep repeating it. Mindfulness. Mindfulness is how do I put it? It puts you in the present, right? Because it brings you to the now. This is when your mind is full, right? And you're not rooted in the present moment, right? When your mind is, okay, let me rephrase it. When your mind is full, you're not rooted in the present moment. When your mind is full is what I like to call, you're in a state of noise, right? That's your crazy mind that's all over the place. And the nature of the human mind, or the conscious mind, is to think, analyze, and to figure things out. That's your conscious mind.
Yes.
Right? That's its job.
Mm-hmm.
Think, analyze, and to figure things out. That means that left to its own devices, it will constantly seek out new ways, find new things to make you think about,
right,
and new ways to check out for reality. For example, when you go into meditation, your mind is going to remind you of your bills, your relationships. Every single thing is going to bring up, right? You're going to feel your skin scratching and nothing is biting you, right? You're going to...
Those sensations, right?
Yeah, that is the conscious mind doing all kinds of madness.
And I remember when we were at the retreat of silence, the Vipassana retreat, that you were basically being taught how to ignore all bodily sensations.
Yeah.
So when you're
sitting, not easy.
When you're sitting in silence, you're sitting in that quiet, and you feel something brush against you and you know there's nothing there. The object, your conscious mind will tell you to scratch
it, yeah,
or touch, or to move.
Yeah.
But we saw, I mean, I should have been meditating, but I would open my eyes and look and see people sitting there. That is how bad I am at the meditation, right? I would look and I would really see people sit there for an hour.
Yeah.
Unflinching. No,
discipline.
Discipline.
Yeah, that's
and
what it
that's
is.
What.
And that's what meditation.
What the goal is.
Yeah, to discipline the mind.
When we talk about the yogis and they reach the stage, or the Buddhists, and they reach the stage of eminence, they reach the stage of what's the word I'm thinking of, where bliss, right? That, and it rarely happens in our lifetimes.
Yeah, and it's a state where it's very difficult to achieve. It's easier said than done. It takes a lot of practice.
Practice with patience.
A lot of practice. And if you're living, if living in the world that we're living in today, it's much harder to get into that state very quickly. Long ago, when there weren't that many distractions, cell phones, TVs, computers, and all the noise. You might be living in the city and you're trying to meditate, and there goes a police vehicle or an ambulance, and the noise,
and it
boom, it throws you off. So, that's
right.
That's what I and then, as I mentioned before, your bills, your job, your relationships, all those things are noise.
So what the goal of meditation is to live in the present,
Yes.
because the past you can't do anything about.
Mhm,
The future you don't know.
mhm.
So I believe when you go to a yoga class, they always talk about being
Into
in
the
the
present.
presence.
Yes. And
Or
how do you
into
do,
the
and
present.
that's what I was trying
That's
to
what-
talk about with the
Yeah.
mindfulness. By practicing mindfulness over and over and over with patience and compassion
Mhm.
for yourself, you can learn how to control the mind, because the
Yes.
whole idea is
Keep
to
the mind
control
still.
the
Mhm.
conscious mind.
Yeah.
Some people put the mind into several compartments. I like to put it into two: conscious and subconscious mind. The whole idea is to control the conscious mind. That
Yeah,
is the wild horse.
that
That's
is-
the monkey,
Yeah, that is
right?
a common teaching. It's not new.
No,
But
but it's very difficult to do.
That's why
It takes a long time. Some people do it
Mhm.
very quickly, not everybody. And eventually, once you practice that over and over, eventually the subconscious mind will be fully immersed and be at one in the present moment.
Now we have a little gift for our audience today.
Mhm.
My dear husband here, we have been into meditation for a really long time. As a matter of fact, he used to teach meditation, and in the religious not institution, it was not church, but at the assembly where we used to frequent, where I used to frequent, and he still does, then he had meditation classes. He has done this online, and it's something that I have been telling him, Frederick, you need to do this again, because you have, I can't believe I'm saying this, but you do have the voice. It is very calming. That's why I fall asleep when you read to me at night.
You shouldn't.
We're not getting into the argument. I'm going to ask our producer, Gary. I think Frederick sent you something earlier this week.
Oh,
And
it's an affirmation.
It's an affirmation,
Yeah.
but we're going to ask our audience, even if you're sitting and having Sunday dinner today, just listen to the calm and the sense of peace. I really like, it's just 2+ minutes, and we're going to play the whole thing, and then we'll continue our discussion afterwards.
Okay. So Gary, if you could
Gary.
just hit that up for us, we'll appreciate that very much. Thank you.
In the meantime, while Gary is doing that, we had 3 mails from Olivia, and they just showed different ways they meditate. One had a hammer in his head, and one had eaten cake. Okay, Gary,
Okay.
you ready?
Here we go.
Thank you.
I am one with the universal mind. My mind is perfect, and I rely upon it for complete guidance in all my daily affairs. This great mind of God knows no evil, limitation, or lack. It simply creates in my own experience the things I think of and accept. I know that doubt, fear, and error, lack and limitation is the result of my own thought and the complete isolation of myself from the power of the universal mind. Whenever I become confused, feel lost, or spiritually disconnected, I lift my thoughts to the perfection, abundance, and love of all the universe. I know that God does not create lack, limitation, error, or evil. And I know that by using the power of the universal mind, God, I am able to recognize them as illusions. I know that the great reality is good, and it is always attempting to manifest itself through me. I understand that the law of creation is bigger than me, and my thoughts will become real in my experience. Therefore, I think creatively and carefully with every thought, as if I were commanding something to act. Any discomfort, limitation, error, or evil that are manifesting in my life are the result of my own thoughts. I am secure in the knowledge that everything rests with a power much greater than I can comprehend. I trust this power. I have complete confidence in this power. I rely on this power for guidance in all my daily affairs. I refuse to accept lack and limitation, for they are only illusions. I have the ability and power within me to quickly deny them. I accept good, and the supply and love of the universe are mine. Have a wonderful day.
Wonderful. I really, really like that. And he has lots of these. As a matter of fact, Frederick, I think you should start a new channel and have folks subscribe, right? And get your meditations. But Gary, what do you think? How was that?
I thought that was done beautifully. I see dollar signs.
Okay. Yeah, let's do another program and have folks subscribe, send in $2 for Fred's meditation.
That was very relaxing to hear.
Yeah, right. Can you imagine half an hour of that? Or,
I'd be asleep.
yeah, sorry, Mike. Yeah.
I would put me to sleep probably. It would relax me so much.
It would.
Yeah.
And the point of meditation is to help us become more adaptable in our lives, right?
Yeah.
Progress can be made in controlling our minds. As a matter of fact, it has been said, it has been proven. The School of Neuroscience has proven that if you meditate, it can add years. It will reduce your biological age by years. For example, if you're 30 years old, you meditated properly, your biological age would be, you could minus 7 years. You would have the age of a 23-year-old.
Wow.
Whereas if you don't practice meditation and you're living with all the stresses, it can, as a 30-year-old, your body would reflect the biological age of 36. And something I learned is that Martin Luther King, and I guess this will go for most politicians, he actually died at age, I think, 39.
Yeah, in his
39.
30s, yeah.
And when they did the autopsy, they said if it was not known how old he was, guess what was his biological age? Not the biological, the age of the body.
Older, I guess it would have been much, like 60.
Exactly. Wow, you're pretty good.
Okay.
They said
yeah, because he was under a lot of stress.
Because of the stresses, he had the biological body of a
Yeah.
60-year-old when the autopsy was done. This is Martin Luther King. I don't want to know what Trump's is or Putin's or
Any politician,
Hitler's or,
any politician for that matter. Yeah,
Yeah.
under a lot of stress.
with the black hair, and they come out aging,
Yeah.
right? So that's it. What do you think about your meditations, Frederick?
Could I interrupt you for a minute? Could I interrupt you guys?
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mike, if you were going to talk.
No problem.
I got a text message from a friend who's listening to the show,
Yes.
and he said to me, the guy who just did that meditation has a better voice than Morgan Freeman or James Earl Jones.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Whoa.
Congratulations.
Okay, Gary, we're going to talk, and you're going to help Frederick, make some of those Morgan Freeman dollars. I've been telling him for years, and he has this gift. And
well,
all he uses it for us to argue.
Well, he's got a baritone voice, and people listening around the world, if you read something on a script and you read it slow and you read it with pause and dramatic diction, that you're right up there with the best. I mean, voiceover artists are getting $1,500 an hour.
Wow.
To do movies. Andy Dufresne swam 25. Yes. You know what I mean? That's what Fred should be doing. And I talked to Fred a year ago or less when I first met him. And I said, he's got to get back into radio or doing voiceovers.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's me. What do I know? I live in a basement.
No, I think you're right, Gary. The voice is really nice.
Sure. And guess what? We're out of time. So, Fred, you're going to have to close us off.
Yeah. Well,
that voice.
Let me tell you, folks, regular practice will bring you realizations and the awareness that you have the ability and power to choose how you experience each moment of your life once you do meditation on a regular basis. And this is what I know. I know that if you practice meditation regularly along with sound affirmations like the one you just heard, It will offer a pure sense of bliss and confidence in who you really are. It will increase your sense of certainty and give clarity and knowledge that you are doing exactly what you are supposed to be doing in life. That is the power of meditation. And with that, I would like to end this show by saying good health is central to human happiness and well-being. It contributes significantly to prosperity and wealth and even economic progress. As healthy individuals, we can be more productive and may even live a little bit longer. So until next Sunday, folks, same time, same station. This is Janet and Fred saying,
before you say let's stay healthy, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about it, and perhaps we'll try and, give a couple more of these little snippets of these meditations. Yeah. And then we go
affirmations.
Affirmations.
Yeah.
So Janet and Fred.
So this is Janet and Fred saying, let's stay healthy on Reality Radio 101. That makes it 3. Wonderful. Yeah.
Thank you for listening to the Liquid Green Health Show with your hosts, Fred and Janet Cox, right here on Reality Radio 101.